What's up, everybody? I'm the Nature Hacker, and this is your world. So today, I have several things to talk about. Hopefully, I could fit everything in the title, so you know what I'm going to be talking about today. It might be a long video, but first, I want to talk about my diet. I think it's going really, really well. Yeah, I mean, what I do is I eat just pure carbs in the morning. Like, I just eat brown rice with some salt. Obviously, you could do other spices and stuff to make it interesting. But then I work out, and then I go for a run. So right now I'm between my workout and my run. And then at lunchtime, I'll eat vegetables only. No oil, no butter, no nothing, just vegetables and some salt and, like I said, spices to make it interesting. And then after that, for dinner, I've been eating meat. You could eat seeds or nuts and seeds. If you're a vegetarian, it would be great. Nuts and seeds are pretty tasty, especially if you do some for dinner, you can do fat and protein. So you could fry stuff. You could do fried hemp seeds, something like that. But yeah, so you could do fried nuts or whatever you want. I mean, whatever. But yeah, so it's been going really well. Yesterday, I was talking to my dad, telling him about it and stuff and how awesome it was. But during that call, I was drinking a big glass of wheatgrass juice. So what I do is just buy wheatgrass powder. It's probably the cheapest way. And I was just drinking a big glass of it. Probably had like a few tablespoons of wheatgrass powder in the water, stirred up. And after I got done on the phone with him and I finished the juice, I just crashed harder than I've ever crashed before. And I was like, oh crap, man, what do I want to say? I just told him about how awesome it was, and then it's just it fails me. So it's like, what did I do wrong? Is there carbs and protein in the wheatgrass juice that caused me an insulin spike to crash? But no, obviously not. But what it was is goiterogens. So compounds in the wheatgrass that cause goiters, which basically what they do is they bind up iodine. And they shut down your thyroid. They literally shut it down. And I crashed so hard, I couldn't even move. I had to lay down in bed, and I didn't even have enough energy to roll over. I was just pinned down in bed, just oh my gosh. It wasn't even that I was sleepy. I couldn't even really sleep, but I did kind of nod off a little bit. And maybe an hour or 2 hours later, finally mustered enough energy to get out of bed. And at that point, I had figured out, while I was laying in bed, I figured out that it was probably the goiterogens in the wheatgrass. So I got up, I took some SSKI, which is an iodine product that I sell. Took some of that, took some selenium, which I also sell on my website. And then things were really back to normal after that. So I pretty much confirmed that it was the goiterogen activity in there. So what I want to say is a lot of these vegetables, the veggie type vegetables, the leafy type vegetables like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, and then all of the grassy type stuff like barley grass, wheatgrass, all of these types of things have high amounts of goiterogens. And you're either going to want to do one of two things or both, and that is cook them so that you deactivate the goiterogens. Some people say, I had a hard time finding scientific research. I don't know why. Scientific research is problematic because it's not just free for everybody, oh, we're just doing this to help the people. It's never like that. It's always done to help the industries, the people paying for the research. So they're always doing dry heating methods if we toast them at 130 Celsius for this long, it gets rid of it. Or if we microwave them for this long, it gets rid of it. Things that the industry can do, they never talk about boiling. It's something that an average Joe could do. They never talk about that method. So Andrew Weil says just lightly steaming vegetables is enough to get rid of the goiterogens. So I tend to trust him. He's a guy similar to me who will experiment on himself. So I'm sure that if he says that, that means he's tested it out on himself. and it's good. So I'm also going to test it out on myself today. I'm going to do a big old glass of wheatgrass juice, but I'm going to simmer it for 5 minutes and see if that really helps. And I should be able to tell, because I know that if all the goitrogens are present, I'm going to get conked out. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to simmer it for 5 minutes. The thing is that if the pH, you hear a lot about, oh, you need to do raw because with raw, you have all the enzymes and everything. And that's pretty much the only thing. Really, you're not cooking something lightly is not going to kill the vitamins or minerals or anything like that. Especially if you're drinking the cooking water, you're not going to lose any of the vitamins and minerals. But the one thing is enzymes, and they're kind of right about that. But the thing is, the most important enzymes are catalase and peroxidase. And both of these enzymes are, if you have the pH at 7, so if it's not acidic, then these things will be inactivated only at like 100 Celsius after 10 minutes. So most of the time when you're boiling something, it doesn't even get to 100 Celsius. It gets to like 90 Celsius. So if you do 5 minutes at 90 Celsius, like a low boil for 5 minutes, you shouldn't inactivate these important enzymes from cooking. Also, even if you do inactivate it barely, it will get reactivated once it gets to physiological temperature. So once it cools down, the enzymes will be back. So there's really no reason to go raw, I don't feel. So get rid of goitrogens like that. Yeah, another thing is, like, let's say you really, really want the catalase and peroxidase, like you have cancer or something, you're treating it with that. Like let's say you're juicing 5 pounds of carrots a day, and you have to have it raw for the catalase and peroxidase. One thing, well, I don't even think carrots have goitrogens in them, so you'd be safe there. But if you're doing something like spinach or something that has goitrogens, you can just increase the amount of iodine. You can add some iodine to it, add some selenium to it or whatnot, and you will counteract the effects of goitrogens. And then brings me to my workout method, and I don't really think this is that revolutionary as my diet, but what I do is I pick 4 exercises. Right now I'm doing push-ups, pull-ups, dips, tricep dips, and leg lifts. So I do those 4. I do a superset, which means the way I do that is I do the push-ups. I take 3 deep breaths after my set of push-ups. I'll do 10 to 20 push-ups. Take 3 deep breaths and go straight to pull-ups. Right now I'm doing like around 8 pull-ups per set. And then take 3 deep breaths, go straight to dips. I'm doing probably 10 to 15 dips. And then take 3 deep breaths and go to leg lifts, which I'm doing around 10 leg lifts, 10 to 15 leg lifts. So that's my current thing. And you can use whatever exercises in there that you want. And but I think the supersetting with the 3 breaths in between is important, not only because it keeps your heart rate up because you only get to take 3 breaths, but there is a reason for the 3 breaths, and that is because every time you breathe, you're expelling carbon dioxide, you're reducing the acidic load on your body. So the point here is that we want to keep the body in the acidic state, like the lactic acid state, for as long as possible there. So that's why we're limiting the breaths so that we keep the acidic state in the muscles and stuff. And that's important also for detoxing, because that acid helps to dissolve the heavy metals in your body. And like I said in a previous video, after I work out, I take my Envirotox product to help move those heavy metal lactates into a form that's excretable in the urine and whatnot. So that's what I'm doing with my workout regimen. I also wanted to talk about twitching. Like, I've noticed a lot of people lately have been getting like these twitchings in their face, and I want to know what that was. I got a little bit, like my eye muscles here would twitch a little bit. I want to know what that was. The first thing I linked it to was mercury, and so I linked it to when I started detoxing mercury from my body, I started getting more twitches. So I was like, okay. And then I looked online. It turns out that people who get flu shots oftentimes will get these facial twitches, and sometimes it's in your hands or just these little, small muscle twitches. They're not like big, like convulsions or anything, just small muscle twitches. So people that got flu shots would get these right after their flu shot, so that helped to solidify in my mind that this is mercury. But I also started getting it really bad when I ate some organic cottage cheese. I ate like a big thing of organic cottage cheese. And if you know me, if you've been following me for a long time, I'm very sensitive to food microbes, so bacteria in food, because I keep my gut sterile. So that means if anything is contaminated, that bacteria will grow in my intestines. There's no other bacteria to outcompete it. So, which is good and bad. Obviously it's bad because, like, let's say, like one time I was at work, I didn't have access to my medicines, and I got basically food poisoning, salmonella, and I couldn't like go home to take my remedies, because with salmonella you could easily kill it with food grade diatomaceous earth. But so anyway, I had to suffer a little bit until I could get home and get my remedies. But the benefit is that, well, there's a ton of benefits, but one of the benefits is that I can pinpoint what the problem is. It's like, okay, I got hit with some type of bacteria, okay, and it's causing this, and this symptoms. I can tell exactly what symptoms it's causing, and then I find out what bacteria causes those symptoms and stuff, so I can reverse engineer a lot of like diseases and problems that nobody's figured out, because I have the clean slate to be able to test stuff. So what it turns out is, once I ate that cottage cheese, I started getting the facial twitches a lot. I started getting the twitches in my hands and my legs, just little small muscles in my legs and stuff. And I was like, man, this must be a bacteria. Like, yeah, maybe the mercury increases the bacteria's activity, but this is definitely a bacteria. And after long and hard searching, I figured out that this bacteria is Clostridium tetani. So this is actually the tetanus bacteria. And it turns out they did research on germ-free mice. Like, I'm a germ-free human. They did research on germ-free mice, found out these same symptoms that I'm getting. And one thing they found out is that these mice with the gut infection of tetanus, they got a ton of immunity to tetanus from having the gut infection. So it's like if they stepped on a rusty nail or something, they were already immunized. It's like they already had the tetanus vaccine by just having the microbe in their gut. So I found out what kills that bacteria, and it's mostly triterpenoid saponin, so my favorite being Gynostemma extract. But any triterpenoid will take it out pretty well. But it is a tough bacteria to take out. It takes a while. So a product of mine like Nature's Fury will work pretty well in getting rid of facial twitches, eye twitches, muscle twitches, stuff like that. Now, if you have convulsions, like if you have what's called myoclonic jerks, like when you're about falling asleep and you kind of jerk and stuff, it's like having a mini convulsion when you're falling asleep, that is actually from Campylobacter bacteria. That's also a pretty tough one to kill. The best thing I found so far is chamomile or ginger, and there's a reason why chamomile and ginger are in sleepy time teas, is because Campylobacter causes insomnia. So that's pretty much for that. I wanted to say that this is the last day that a lot of my videos are going to be up. I believe I have 230 videos up right now. So tomorrow morning is going to be like Christmas morning. You're going to see how many videos do I have up tomorrow morning. So it's going to be interesting. I don't really know which ones I'm going to take down yet, but my goal and my what I'm shooting for is any videos that are building up are going to stay. Any videos that are tearing down are going to go. And sometimes there might be kind of iffy, hard to call on those videos. I'll probably err on keeping them up. I might tweak the title to make it less clickbaity, to make it less like intimidating, stuff like that. It's funny because one of my videos, which is one of my favorite videos that I think I did a lot of good research for, was the Huma Abedin video, where I basically said, is she a Muslim infiltrator or spy? That is a really well-researched video. It's not very biased at all, so there's no real reason for people to be offended at that. But I was looking at my video statistics. Only one girl out of the 106 views it has, only one girl watched that video. And so I just wanted to say that thank you to whoever that is, and thank you for trusting me and not, thinking that I'm going to go super crazy on it. But yeah, so anyway, but then my other video on Huma, which didn't have as crazy of a title, but which was the worst video, there was, the typical amount of girls watching it. And just to let you know, it's about 85% of people on my channel are guys and 15% are girls. But anyway, that's that. 230 vids. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That about wraps it up. So stay tuned. Tomorrow I should have a video summarizing what I did to change my channel and website. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate your patronage and your comments and all of your awesome comments lately. You've been so supportive. All the awesome likes. I mean, it's really just overwhelming how awesome you guys are lately. So thank you. Thanks for watching. I am the Nature Hacker. Let's do work.